Hi everyone, hope you are feeling positive and healthy. Please subscribe with all bell notifications if you haven't already, and please don't hesitate to leave your valuable feedback and advice below. Thank you very much. Let's jump into the stories. Found out my best friend, 25 years old female, has been using my pictures, 26 years old female, to catfish a guy she's been talking to since 2015. Man, I don't know where to go from here, so I thought I'd go to Reddit. My best friend, we'll call her Maggie, and I met our freshman year of college. We are now roommates and moved in together 2 years ago. In 2015, my best friend spent spring break a couple states away, and matched with a guy on Tinder. When she came back to campus, she immediately told me about him and how amazing he was and how they only went out to dinner once. Edit. This was obviously a lie, but that they were talking 24/7. I got super excited and asked to see a pic. That was the only picture of him she's ever shown me. Over the past 5 years he's literally been her whole world. She talks about him constantly. She always has her nose in her phone. She gets clingy when he takes too long to text back. She's cried to me a few times because she's lurked on his social media and seen he was around other girls. My roommate doesn't have social media herself. I had asked a few times why they have never met up again, and she said they're both too busy and don't have the money for the trip. I even told her that he could stay with us and that would save some money. He's sent presents and even flowers on Valentine's Day every year. They've basically been dating this whole time. So yesterday my roommate picked up a shift at work and was gone. I get a knock on our door and I open it to a guy. He says hi, and I give a confused hi, and then he barges in and scoops me up into a hug. He starts saying, "I thought you were working? I was hoping your roommate was here so I could surprise you when you got back, and I am so confused." I immediately get down and back away and let him know I have absolutely no clue what he's talking about. My brain can't even process what's happening. Then he looks confused, and says, "Maggie?" And I'm like, "No, that's my roommate." My roommate and I look nothing alike, so I'm even more confused. Then something kind of clicks and I think, oh my god, is this the guy she's been dating? So I say, "Wait, are you Adam?" And he gives me a very slow yes, and I get excited and say, "Oh my god, I bet Maggie is going to flip out. I can't believe you're here." His demeanor completely changes. He asks me what I'm talking about. "I'm Maggie?" And I tell him, "No, I'm Summer, Maggie's roommate." At this point I'm still completely missing something he has just pieced together. He just says holy F and looks like he doesn't know what to say. Eventually he asks if he can sit down. I invite him in. He then proceeds to tell me for the past 5 years, he's thought he's been talking to me. Every picture he's ever seen of Maggie has actually been pictures of me. I'm completely dumbfounded and we don't know what to say to each other at first. So he gets out his phone and shows me proof. He has tons of pictures of me saved on his phone, and went to their messages and showed me proof that she's been sending them to him. I felt and still feel completely sick to my stomach. I get out my phone and show him real pictures of her. I tell him maybe they could just talk when she gets off of work, and he's really pissed at this point. I say maybe we should call her first and let her know he's here. So I do that and she starts flipping out, saying she's not coming home, tells him to leave and that she won't talk to him. He calls her and starts yelling at her over the phone. After everyone calms, she eventually comes home. He's hurt and accusing. She's crying. I'm sitting there awkwardly. She tells him that she's still the same person he's had feelings for and he screams at her, "No, I thought I was in love with your roommate." And that completely makes her break down, so I tell him maybe he should leave for the night and everyone should have their own space. He agrees, and after he leaves she goes completely psychotic on me and starts throwing crap around the living room. Tells me she hates me. I start crying. It's a mess. I left to stay with a friend and haven't been back, so I don't know what's gone down. I feel like I have no idea who the person I'm living with is and I feel weirdly violated. Do I move out? Do I try to call her? She hasn't even texted me. I don't know how to deal with this situation. Update. Thank you guys for all of your advice and comments, many saying you've been in mine or Adam's position. It's made me feel better. I'm gonna go ahead and just post an update, because I don't think there will be more of an outcome than this. I ended up having a phone call with Adam, mostly because I wanted to know about the pictures she sent. Turns out she sent pics of me in my underwear, and nudes that aren't actually of me or her. So we're assuming she got those from Google. He feels really bad and is actually having a hard time with all of this. I assured him I don't blame him at all for the underwear pics, or anything like that. He ended up telling me that they actually have FaceTimed, but she would never show her face, only the top of her head/hair, which is dyed a similar color to mine. Never thought anything of this. Now I think it might be really weird, and her excuse was she felt like she looked bad on video, was self-conscious, didn't have makeup on. etc. He said he didn't think it was weird. He also told me he's tried a ton of times to arrange visits to meet and she's came up with excuses every time. Said that he's been mostly content to talk through text/over the phone up until this point. Also said he's going to try to reach out to her one more time to talk about everything, but that he's moving on. As for me, I'm not sure I can break my lease yet, but I'm going to go ahead and move out and in with a friend until my lease is over. We briefly talked when I went to my apartment, and she sort of half apologized, but is still pretty hostile and defensive. So I'm going to give her space. I feel bad for her, but I don't think our friendship is going to survive this whole thing. Anyway, this has been some crazy crap, and I appreciate all of the responses I got. Y'all are awesome. She broke your trust and is for 5 years. She lied for 5 years then tried to blame you. How do you build a relationship off of that? Adam realized that you can. You should realize it too. I wouldn't feel comfortable around a person who uses my pictures then throws things around while blaming me. She needs to see a therapist. None of this is your fault. I'd recommend finding another place to live. I was the Adam in a situation like this. It was 3 years. You need to move out. Get away from this, Maggie. People like that are not okay. Don't put yourself through this anymore. I went NC when it happened, effective immediately. My Maggie messed with me for years to come and we were countries apart. Just get away and stay away. That's all I have to say. My 26 years old female boyfriend, 27 years old male, ran off in the middle of the night with our newborn son, 2 weeks M. First time posting, on mobile. Sorry this is long. As title says, we have a newborn son who is 2 weeks old. To recap the period leading up to this event. We had the baby on a Thursday and came home on Saturday. Roses. Everything was absolutely beautiful. Our relationship had never been stronger and we were so happy. More in love with each other and with the little one than we thought possible. On Sunday we decided to pop a bottle of champagne. I have one glass and he continues saying we can get drunk now. I obviously didn't want to get drunk, but did not discourage him since we hadn't drank in months. We used to drink together nightly. He ended up quite belligerent by the end of the night and it resulted in tears on my end since he was acting out of character. The next morning he sincerely apologized and said that if he ever got drunk like that again, he would stop drinking. That evening rolls around and we have a glass of wine with dinner. I did not want another, but he continued to finish the bottle, and another. Drunk again. More tears. I explained to him, while he was drunk, the conversation we had the night prior about him not doing this and he broke down and came to bed and promised not to again. After a week of being home, my mother begins to travel to us. We live in CO, she lives in NY, to visit us for 2 weeks to help get settled with the baby. This visit has been planned for 4 months and was not a surprise. In the 2 days she is traveling, my boyfriend begins to transition from happy new father to protective new father. It is a difference, but he is very confident in his new role and feels that his life has changed and he is very happy. My mother arrives at 8 a.m. on a Monday and proceeds to say hi to us, although quite exhausted, and goes to sit on our porch to decompress after 48 hours of travel. My boyfriend comes to me and says that she was disrespectful when she arrived. I question him and say, I'm pretty sure she's just tired. Let's let her rest and then we can all have a conversation about boundaries and more once she's rested. He agreed and moved on with the morning. I didn't think anything else of it. At around 9:30 a.m., 90 minutes after her arrival, she passes him in the kitchen and he raises his voice and exclaims to her about how she will not be disrespectful of him in his house and more. I begin to bawl and beg him to stop. My mother, completely taken back, goes outside crying. My boyfriend is livid, I can see it in his eyes. I try to calm him down and go to check on my mother, who I then try to calm down. He comes outside and asks to speak to her and I leave them alone. Hindsight, should not have done this, and after about 1 minute, my mom comes back inside yelling and crying I'm done, and tells me she is going to go back home. I try to speak to both of them, but I can't stop crying. Had a baby 10 days ago at this point. My mother packs up to leave and does. My boyfriend thinks he has done the right thing and protected his family unit. I am devastated that my mom is gone as I wanted her help and guidance with the newborn. He is confident in his decision. In the next 2 days this confidence does not wane, and he says he had to hurt me in this situation to maintain his family. We went to bed around 11. We had argued some earlier in the evening, but when bedtime rolled around we were actually on good terms and I went to sleep pretty hard because of that. I wake up to a stranger shouting my name, and I look over and the baby is not in his bed. I run out and a policeman is inside. The shower is running. The door is open. The policeman informs me that my boyfriend took the baby and ran out of our apartment building into a house up the street and rang their doorbell. The officer asked me to come with him and he took me to the house where my boyfriend went. There were many officers outside asking me questions about different things. The consensus was that my boyfriend thought someone was going to kill him, so he took the baby and ran. The officers took me inside the house, gave me the baby and then let me know they were taking my boyfriend to the hospital for an evaluation. The officers took me to a hotel for safety. The hospital ruled the case a mental break and that he was fine. He seemed fine when I picked him up and we went home. As the day went on he got more and more paranoid, so I called the police when he went to work. He insisted that I had bugged the apartment, that the neighbors were in on it, that my mom called our pediatrician, and more. The police suggested for us to separate for the evening and he stayed home and the baby and I are in a hotel again. What should I do now? He is continually paranoid now. I have a baby to protect. I don't feel he is being rational in our home. Please help. Thank you for reading this. Also, overwhelming response. I did not expect this. The baby and I are safe. I called his mother who is now traveling to come get him. I called my sister who is planning to come now once he is gone from the house so she and I can go back together. Thank you all. This has been the worst week after the best week and I am exhausted. I turned to Reddit to rationalize what I was thinking since I don't have people to talk to outside of the situation. Thank you for the responses. Update. Updating here. 2 months later, baby and I are safe and BF has been getting help at his mom's. I went to my mom's. I've been communicating with his mom and he seems to be improving from her perspective. Thank you all again for the messages and the comments. It helped to have outside perspective when I was overwhelmed. I'm much better now than I was then. He should be mentally evaluated, may have some type of mental disorder which untreated could get worse. I don't want to defend the guy, but this is so weird and extreme and his actions are so off. He doesn't seem there. Mostly at that age mental health stuff really starts to become apparent. Do not go back to your house alone with him and the baby. Call your mom, get help. He needs to be evaluated and you need to protect yourself and your child. He's not stable. Do you have any friends or other family you can stay with until he is evaluated and treated? I'm scared for you, so please, contact your mom. My 24 years old female boyfriend, 26 years old male, almost got me fired from my job. I won't disclose my job position as I am attempting to stay anonymous, but I work with client files that can contain sensitive information, and since the pandemic I have been working from home, with a company computer. I got a call a few weeks ago and it was my supervisor as well as HR, and our department manager. They called me into the corporate building, of our area, to come in and talk, so I knew it was serious. They kept asking me if I knew a Lindsay Parks. For the sake of the story I'll call this person Lindsay Parks. I was confused and said no, and they told me that I had opened her file unauthorized. I'm not allowed to deal with files for people that I know, or open files that I'm not assigned to. I was confused and denied it because I really didn't know this person, so they opened the file to see if there was an associated party on the file that I know. And lo and behold, my boyfriend's name was listed as an associate party. I had to tell them this was my boyfriend, and they said they were going to place me on suspension until they investigate. I got home and when my boyfriend got home I told him what had happened. He got a bit red in the face, and then admitted that he used Lindsay's number to look up her file and see if there were any updates as he knew I worked for the company and that she hadn't heard from them and wanted to check out her file. I told him this wasn't okay and I'm probably going to get fired for his carelessness, and who Lindsay was and why he was listed as an associate party on her file. He said a friend, and then went back to saying how it wasn't his fault and that he didn't know I'd get in trouble, and that I shouldn't have made my work password something he'd know. They finished their investigation, and after my boyfriend confessed, I had surprisingly gotten my job back. I have since been working in an empty office at the corporate building because they don't want anything similar happening again. Communication with my boyfriend has been very limited except for if it pertains to our daughter. I feel like he tried gaslighting me and this situation just is making me feel extremely uneasy. DLDR, my partner went to my work computer, opened a file for a friend, and almost got me fired by doing so. Now I'm working in the corporate building to prevent this from happening again. And our relationship is strained after it feels like he gaslighted me into thinking this was my fault. At 26 years old, your boyfriend should know that breaking into your company's computer with your password could get you fired. Him blaming you, and him saying that she is a friend, with no further explanation, is all highly suspect. Why was he willing to go to such lengths for just a friend? You are right to go no contact except regarding your daughter. Stick to that. This dude had the nerve to say you shouldn't have made a password he could guess. Are you sure you want to be with this clown? He almost screwed your whole life up and barely gives a crap. My 27 years old female Boyfriend, 27 years old male, is smaller than me. He introduced me to his family a few days ago and their reaction and comments devastated him. I am taller than and more muscular than my boyfriend. I am not a bodybuilder, however he is a shorter man and very skinny. Because of this, our contrast looks more significant and we've both always been aware of this. We've talked about it plenty of times before and he's never been distraught over it. Yes, I've had my suspicions that maybe our size differences have given him some thoughts in the past, but I've never pressed him on it, because he's so skinny, and he's aware of his health. He's talked to me about gaining weight. I've been helping him try and gain weight at home and have even gone with him to speak to doctors about getting something for this. He has always given up on the progress very early for reasons I always assumed were forgetfulness or laziness. I'm now starting to question if it was also issues with his self-esteem insecurities that caused him to stop all the time. I never pushed him on this because I didn't want to force him to do anything. Another thing that I'm now thinking about is how he's never wanted to work out with me at the gym even though he's told me he's wanted to get fit. I'm not stupid. I know being seen with me at the gym might have made him uncomfortable. We've talked to each other about our insecurities and worries like we all do. He always said it's not being seen together, it's just being seen in the gym in general. He'd say things like, even before us I was too embarrassed to go to the gym, or oh, I don't want to embarrass you. Okay, this is common among tons of people, so I believed him. So we'd work out at home, and same thing happens here like with the weight gain, just gives up. The problem now is that, I'm starting to suspect that there's some deep-rooted issues he has, and it's all cause of the family dinner. We had dinner at his family's house and this was the first time they have met me. Nothing was out of the ordinary until the questions about my body started to fly. NBD, I get them all time. I'm tall, he's short, my muscles are more visible, his aren't. Whatevs. But the next few days, he was visiting his family and talking on the phone. Turns out, they've been harassing him, making fun of him, making fun of me, our bodies, everything. I'm dead freaking sure this is fueling his insecurities. I found all of this because I caught him crying on the phone arguing with his mom. She is telling him to dump me, saying things like the cousins or whatever are all talking crap. Guys in his family are making fun of his body and mine, saying all sorts of disgusting things. He's so hurt. I know the easiest thing is to just ignore them, but he's always been close with his family so that's not going to help him. Stuff like that for people like my boyfriend is always easier said than done. How do I help him? I want to help him be happy with himself, with his body, and with me. Is it selfish for me to think about myself, too? I won't lie, I'm worried of losing him because I've seen the texts, and his mom is demanding that he leave me. Damn, what a situation. You don't need to help him get fit. You don't need to change your body. You need to get him to realize his family is a pile of toxic poo-poo and that distanciating himself from them is going to be a big relief of pressure to be able to love himself and this relationship as it is. Wow, that is really messed up of his family. So screwed. I don't even know what to say about that. Have you thought about suggesting therapy? You two seem like a good match and it would be a shame if he let his family and his deep-rooted insecurities ruin a really good real relationship. He seemed like he only had a decent handle on it before and now that his family are being absolute jerks I'm sure he is just spiraling in anxiety and hurt. He could probably really use an unbiased opinion of this situation. My 23 years old male girlfriend's 22 years old female diet is making her crazy. How do I reason with her? Throw RA. She uses Reddit more than me. I'll just get right to it. About 2.5 weeks ago, my girlfriend decided that she wanted to lose weight. I have no idea how much. She won't tell me her start weight or any of her goals, but I'm guessing it's in the realm of 20 to 25 pounds. It's no secret to me that she's overweight, but I like her the way she is and this is the only way that I've ever known her. Anyway, she signed up for that Noom program, which is basically an app for counting calories from what I understand. She eats a strict 1,200 calories per day and drinks almost a gallon of water every day. In some ways it's been good because I get a lot of home-cooked healthy dinners, but that's beside the point. We've also started going on long walks, 1+ miles, every other night or so, and she picked up some yoga off YouTube. The problem is, since beginning her diet, her self-esteem has spiraled out of control. She wakes up every morning and weighs herself and then tells me that she doesn't deserve food today because I gained 2 pounds overnight. Eating is overrated. Why don't you break up with me for someone pretty? Stuff like that. This morning, she texted me to say that she's been waking up an extra 30-ish minutes early before work so that she has time to get back in bed and cry after weighing herself so she doesn't burst into tears at her desk again. It's nuts. I've done a bunch of research and even met with a dietitian, a friend of mine, on her behalf, and I've learned more than I probably needed to about women and hormones and how birth control affects weight loss and all that nonsense. But she won't listen to me when I try to reason with her. I just want to tell her that her body is in shock from the sudden adjustment in her eating habits and she needs to tough it out for 6 weeks. She doesn't want to hear it. She's too busy crying over a quarter of a pound and swearing up and down that she's doomed to be ugly forever and I'm going to leave her for a skinny legend. I love her, I really do. How do I reason with her? Last edit. I have been trying to reply to almost all the comments as they come in. And I know I didn't get all of them, but I really do appreciate all of the insight that everyone has offered. Except of course for people like my friends who are featured in the first 2 edits for suggesting that I break up with my girlfriend. But that's beside the point. I think I have a good idea of the next steps that I should take as a supportive boyfriend to encourage her to get the help that she needs, and I'm hoping to be able to update you all on this soon. The only thing I haven't enjoyed about this experience is the fact that this account that I just made this morning now has 3 times as much karma as my main. Thanks again. Also, I generally hate people who edit posts after they already have hundreds of comments, but I just want to say to this guy, here link 1 in description, that you are the reason women develop disordered eating and you should not be proud of yourself right now. More information, I'm sorry if someone abandoned, you link 2 in description, during a tough time in your life, but I'm not going to leave my girlfriend just because she's in a rough patch right now. We should be encouraging people who need help to seek it, not dump them because they're vulnerable. When my anorexia was at its worst I called in sick to work multiple times because I gained 0.2 pounds and I couldn't get out of bed. She will most definitely resist help if she feels like she hasn't lost enough weight yet. I would strongly recommend getting her therapy and reassuring her that it's okay to eat and you're attracted to her exactly as she is. I was on Noom for a few months. It wants you to weigh yourself daily the moment you get out of bed. They have daily articles they want you to read. It counts calories for you, is a pedometer, and can also track calories you've burned based on activity. I ended up quitting because I felt like my life was revolving around food. I was obsessed with food and calories and constantly hungry. Weighing myself daily was also a challenge because every single weight difference was recorded on the app as well and made me feel like crap when I went up or plateaued. Maybe encourage her to just eat healthy and not count every calorie. Tell her you like the meals she has been making. She could just weigh in once a week instead of daily. She'll need your support in this because it very much can lead to an eating disorder. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.